B-Pod Studios.
This is Talkin' Rock. Talkin' Rock. Your backstage pass to some of your favorite rock artists. Here's your host, Meltdown.
Exciting stuff today on the Talkin' Rock with Meltdown podcast. Yeah, Tobias, the man behind Ghost, is joining me. He joined me on Zoom, and just so cool to talk to him. It's been 3 or 4 years since I talked to him. I think the last time I talked to him was in person. It was right before Prequel came out. So it was really exciting to talk to him again. Ghost is just one of those bands where I just love them. I was at a record thing in Nashville yesterday, and I happened to buy a couple of Ghost albums. And speaking of that, I went to Nashville over the weekend. Kid Rock's son got married. Great couple, great kid. And I went to the wedding on Saturday, and then he had a little, a little get-together, kind of a brunch thing in the morning time watching football and different things like that. I had to split like halfway through the afternoon to get back here to Detroit, but it's kind of wild. I'm standing there, and Ric Flair shows up. It's like the Nature Boy. I'm like, okay, does this get any crazier? Oh, yeah, then M. Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold just happens to be in town because he's golfing or something. So I actually asked Tobias a question from M. Shadows. And as well as we talked about Hunter's Moon, covering Metallica, lots of stuff today. Is Tobias Forge, the man behind Ghost. Really excited to have him on the Talkin' Rock with Meltdown podcast. Hope you guys enjoy this.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I got a lot to get to here in just a short time, so let's get right at it. First of all, I just want to talk about this Metallica cover you did, Enter Sandman. And talk about your thought process going into, covering such an iconic song like that for this box set.
A lot of that thought process was a few years ago when we were asked to participate in their, they were they were given the Polar Music Prize. We were asked to participate in that and to honor them at that TV show, basically, the inauguration. At the end of the day, there was a production team, and they were like, yeah, we want you to open up the whole thing, and we want you to play Enter Sandman. Okay. And then, I gave it a little thought. It was like, I can't really come up with anything else that would feel better, because most of the time when I choose to cover a band or an artist, it's usually because there is something to alter or change or in any way sort of refine. But with Metallica's music, as with a lot of heavy metal, it's very defined already. It's very thick, with all the riffs are done and everything is sort of there. Whereas, as opposed to a Bob Dylan song that's just like an acoustic guitar and him sort of humming the vocals, you can interpret it in many ways. But then, I came up with the idea to sort of transform the chord progression underneath the melody, and it grew from there. And then a few years later, we were asked to do, to be part of this record, and it felt like natural to do Enter Sandman, basically, because we had already covered it.
Right. So. And to hear Enter Sandman with some piano and stuff, and it was pretty interesting. And just, that band, of course, they've been big supporters of you guys for a long time, and I know that you were a fan growing up. So did you feel a little bit of added pressure or no?
Oh, of course. And in the time, originally back when we did the Polar Music Prize, I of course felt a little put on the spot because of obviously them being such role models, and going from childhood idols on my wall and on my stereo to now comrades, mentors, supporters. That was early in the album cycle as well last time, which also felt a little, I'm always a little anxious when you start off an album cycle around when you're releasing an album and all that, because there's so many other things to think about and so many other things to be wary about, and how things is, it's going to come across. So, that was a nervous moment. Yeah, it felt really good once we were going.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You're nervous. And also, you got to throw a Metallica cover in there as well. So yeah, I get that. So Hunter's Moon is out right now, and I've heard that you had this idea for this song for a long time. Obviously, the perfect time to release this song. So tell us about this this new track that's going to be used on the Halloween Kills movie.
Also, a few years ago, it feels like that's going to be a repetitive echo here, just because of what the last year and a half being sort of comatose. Yeah, a few years ago, around the same time, it was very simple, really. Went to dinner with a friend of mine. His name is Ryan Turek, who works as a producer for Halloween, amongst other things. And he was just like, how would you like to participate in maybe writing some music or maybe a song or something? Kind of like Alice Cooper, with the Man Behind the Mask. I would love to do that. I mean, that would be great. Of course. Yes. And it just so happens that I actually had basically a grain of something that could become a song that was already in my mind, called Hunter's Moon. And that was basically just a title. But when that opportunity came, it quickly sort of grew into a formed idea. And off it went. And then obviously we got a little bit delayed because the film was done. My God, it's almost 2 years now, something like that. That was supposed to premiere a year ago. But here we are.
and everything got pushed back due to COVID, I'm presuming. Is that what you're getting at?
Yes.
Yeah.
So originally that song was going to sort of hit just in the middle of sort of, not hiatus, but after the tour was over, it was just going to come out inside the void of sort of making a record. And now it's something different.
Yeah, totally. So you were just talking about end of the record cycle and kind of moving forward and stuff. Well, now you got this tour that you're going to be going on in 2022, starting out the year with Volbeat and stuff. So I've been asking artists this a lot. So it's like, how excited are you to get back on the road? Has the pandemic pushed you back, or was this about where you're going to go back on the road, or what's the story with that?
Yes and no. Originally, we were really lucky, if that is the right word. It just so happened that we were done touring in March 2020. So we did the last show in LA, not in LA. We did it in Mexico City, and then I had a brief little visit in LA, just some work stuff, and then I flew home. And then everything just fucking went down the toilet. But for me, the reality in March 2020 was that I was going to go back to Stockholm. I was going to go basically immediately into the studio. And we were going to have a record out about a year from then, which means that we aimed at March 2021. So it wasn't, as the year progressed, 2020, we felt that everything is going to be pushed, but we weren't canceling anything. We were just pushing and sort of changing as we went. And now, as we were closing in on, I don't want to say the world changing back or coming back, because we're not really there yet, but once we noticed that now it's the haze is sort of clearing a little, it felt like a good time to start announcing things. And because also Halloween film was gonna, Halloween Kills was gonna come anyway, so it felt natural. And now it's just like, knock wood, hopefully everything goes as planned.
Here at the Home Depot, we want to help you do big, bigger, even epic. From small tools to earth-moving equipment, we've got your DIY covered, no matter how big or small. And at the Home Depot, You can rent and reserve online and pick up in store. The Home Depot app. How doers get more done.
Now, your guys' stage show and your production and stuff is so big and stuff. You must have tons of ideas rattling around for this upcoming tour, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I don't know what to say more than that. Yes, yeah. Of course, we're gonna do more and better than have done before. That's the plan.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen you here in Detroit. I think it was 2017, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 18. But, man, what a great show. I mean, just so good. And Cardinal Copia, I hear it's going to be Papa Emeritus the Fourth now. Is that right?
Yes. I mean, he transformed already in Mexico City.
Gotcha. Okay.
In 2020.
Gotcha. All right.
So, but he's waiting patiently and, waiting for his moment.
Yeah, and that moment's going to be coming here pretty quick at the start of 2022. I lived this crazy life, and I was just talking to Alyssa about this, but yesterday I just happened to find myself hanging out with M. Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold for a couple hours in Nashville. Yeah, and I told him I was going to be talking to you, and I said, what would you ask Tobias Forge, the man behind Ghost? And he said, first of all, he's a huge fan, and he said he really is curious to know about your writing process. And you've probably talked about this before, but what is the writing process that you guys go through?
I usually write bits and pieces and snippets and for some time, I mean, it varies a little nowadays because we spend so much time on tour. I like to when there's time off, what I usually do is I get together with friends of mine. It's usually different ones, basically other songwriters, because I like going into an environment, a situation where I need to, I guess the word is impress. I want to come in and just like, here's a song idea I have, and this is another song, but would you like to work on one of these? Like, which one do you feel most excited about? Which one moves you the most? And more than often that person says, I like that one. That sounds really cool. I think that could be this or that. And then, you just start sort of putting it together, make a demo. And throughout the last at least 5 years, or from Meliora, was that 6-7 years, something like that.
Yeah.
That has been sort of the process where basically you make an embryo, but then you sort of realize it with someone. And the way I do it with various people that aren't, necessarily, they are in other bands, I guess, or they have other projects and stuff. But that way you don't have, it's not on your plate to make a record together. It's on your plate to make the best out of this song. So you always get the best out of people, basically.
Yeah.
So it feels super excited. And if I do that during an album cycle, when people don't expect me to do anything, I just feel so much better about that. That's how a lot of the tracks on our last 3 albums have come out. Yeah, I just stay somewhere and write a song with someone, and I know, then you carry that with you for a year, not showing it to anyone except for my wife and my kids and
right. Yeah.
the best friend or something, but you sit on it. That was the same thing with Hunter's Moon. Obviously we knew that it was going to transform into something, but that was also not pedaled around a whole lot before.
All right.
So which I like that process. It's fun because it's nowadays, you don't really, most bands don't, what we used to do, or I mean, I and everybody else that was in bands, what you used to do back in the day was, you wrote the song at home and then you came into a room with all live gear that was really loud, and then you had to teach everyone how to play the track, and you were always up against their their temperament and their attention span. So you had to be very, very, very meticulous and like, this is how the bass line goes and this is how the guitar plays. And no, don't play that. And please, drummer, please stop fucking playing. And then by the time, at the end of the night, you're so deaf because of, the just exhaustion of sort of teaching a group of people a song. Whereas nowadays, you go into a studio where you have a recording setup and, usually the first time you hear the song, it sounds pretty fucking full. Pretty effing.
Yeah, you're fine.
It sounds pretty effing rad.
Well, I'm going to pass that along to Shadows, and I appreciate your time. And just my final name drop here. My friend Nick Lindstrom, the greatest hockey player to ever come out of your home country there, he told me to say, Älskar ditt band.
Oh, say tack så mycket.
Tack så mycket, okay. and that means thank you, I suppose?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Hey, Tobias, congratulations on all your success. I love the band. Can't wait for new stuff. And, of course, this tour next year sounds like it's going to be awesome. The Hunter's Moon is just killer, and we really appreciate you talking to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So cool to have Tobias back on the Talkin' Rock with Meltdown podcast. I'll tell you what, I thought about this interview all weekend long because Tobias is somewhat of an enigma, right? But the Ghost records are just so killer, and I just love his band. So anyways, yeah, so there at the end, I said, I love your band. That's, I think that's, let's see, Älskar Pit Band. That's, got to thank my friend Nick Lindstrom for help me out with my Swedish, although it's brutal. I think the last time I talked to him, he might have given me a little Swedish lesson as well. But, yeah, anyways, really great to talk to Tobias. Can hardly wait for some new stuff from those guys, a full album, a full project, and, of course, seen him on tour. I mean, one of the best bands to see live, no question about it. And like I said, they're going to be on tour with the guys from Volbeat starting out in early 2022. So there you have that. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed this. Hit me up on my socials at Meltdown WRIF on Twitter and Facebook. You can email me anytime you'd like. Meltdown at WRIF.com if you want to talk about rock or talk about anything or give me tips or questions or whatever. I'm all here for you. So in the meantime, thanks for listening. And here comes the guy with the big voice. I got to move over.
Thank you for listening to Talkin' Rock with Meltdown.